Hi everyone, my name is Sejin Young and I will be your podcast host for today. Today we are going to be talking about the effects of video games and the effect that it is having on today's youth. So, how I got into this, a while ago I went back to school and I was talking with some peers, and as you do, you just talk about your summer. Hey, how's your summer? How's it going? I hope you had a good summer. Did you do anything fun? And the amount of kids that I had talked to that had said they had spent a majority of their time playing video games piqued my interest. Something that I had never really found interesting before had been what most kids spent their entire summer doing. And I decided to take some research on this. Is this really healthy for these kids? How much time are they really spending? And what can this mean for long and short term? What are the actual effects of them playing video games? So I decided to take some of my own statistics. So I went around my school and I went around my neighborhood and I started talking to all these kids and I asked how much time they spent playing video games, and I took a survey and I interviewed about 60 people, boys and girls, ranges 7 to 17. And throughout this, I found that the average time that these kids from 7 to 17, starting as young as second grade, were spending about 3 hours a day on video games, which is insane. Video games. So, 3 hours a day, which was about 21 hours a week, which is almost a day of every one of these kids' weeks that they spent playing video games. Some more, some less, but almost a day of every week that they spent playing video games, which was absolutely crazy to me. And so I decided to do some research of what this meant for them mentally, what this meant for them physically, and I hope that this can inform someone so that it won't have the same effects on you as it does these kids. So, throughout my research, the very first thing that I found was the neurological effects of playing video games. First of all, your brain isn't fully developed to the age of 25, so this is having a long term effect on you because your brain isn't completely developed until you're 25. And most of the kids, all the kids that I was talking to, weren't even a real adult, they were all under the age of 18. So, I found that very interesting. So, the first thing that affects video games is the addiction part of it. So, video games are very addicting and they can have the same effect as on, they can have the same effect as adults who have these drinking and drug addictions. The same thing is happening to these kids with video games. They are addicted to it. And when you're addicted to something like that, there are a lot of issues that come with it. You feel the need to be with it, around it all the time, and that can cause a lot of behavioral issues. And throughout more research, I found that a lot of kids were having to go through therapy and all of these things to help these issues that were caused by video games, something that you didn't know would affect you so much until you actually have to start going to the doctor for the damage that it caused. And there's not only physical or addiction problems, there's also physical and mental issues that come along with this. For instance, it can cause obesity, something that I didn't realize could be caused by playing video games, but I guess it makes sense if you're sitting around. It can cause obesity and heart problems just from playing these games every day, which every day sounds like a lot, but it's a reality for a lot of these kids. It can also cause short attention span, which can really affect your grades and your performance in school. And so many of these kids were actually getting dumber from playing video games and underperforming because of their video games that they were playing every night. They were underperforming in school. And there can also be a number of mental issues, including depression and anxiety, something that I've noticed or I think has peaked in our society recently. And it's been caused by these video games that you don't really think are that important or have that much of a meaning, but they're all of these mental issues in kids that should not be caused, and it's just kind of unavoidable. I when when I heard everyone spent their summer playing video games, I wondered if I was missing out. And apparently I was, but only on the physical and mental toll of playing video games. And it's just insane that it's just affected all of these kids, and I seriously fear for the upcoming generations of what video games means for them and if they'll be able to rise above this in their future and be able to figure it out and work a successful life. Another source that I found said that not only does it lead to depression and anxiety, it can obstruct the ability to interpret emotions, and it can fuel aggressive contact and just their physiological health, and not being able to interpret emotions, not being able to be a kid and be able to live their actual life, because video games, they've just lived through a screen and they're not actually able to understand the human mind and be social with all these other kids that are their age, because